So we are going to start the session. I request all the guest and keynote speakers requested to switch on your video because we are going to live stream our official Facebook page. Thank you. Congratulations to all. A very warm welcome and greetings of the hour to all our revered members of Charles Walter Society for Innovation and Research. Welcome back to yet another virtual Grand Summit on Peace. I, Dr. S. Nagarajan, Principal of Surendra Institute of Engineering and Management, Siliguri, West Bengal, and Deputy Director of Meetex CWSIR, invite you all to join for the prayer come virtual lighting of lamp to formally inaugurate the world's greatest virtual summit on peace.
शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणं आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणं आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणं
Thank you. Let me start by introducing our CWSIR, Charles Walter Society for Innovation and Research, founded by Dr. Smita Tiwari in 2019 and under the able presidency of Dr. Abhishek Pandey. Vision for promoting research and innovation and targets the mission to strengthen the society with enlightened intellect and wisdom through the specific ideology from the specialized field. CWSIR is a stanch belief that research, creativity, and innovation can only guide the entire fraternity of education to a destiny that can produce good literature, research scholars, national and international patents, a wider perspective to develop and implement feasible definition of living in peace. Believing in team and collaborative work, Charles Walter Society for Innovation and Research pays heartfelt gratitude to its executive members, state country coordinators, country ambassadors, board of directors, and secretariat and all other governing bodies. And World Peace Summit aims to inspire youth to sharpen skills of peace, education, global citizenship, amplifying voices of youth, women, peace and security, facilitate the exchange of ideas and scholars talk. Climate actions for peace and new network to form the like-minded individuals and world leaders. This summit will provide an opportunity to students and young leaders to bring solutions and projects by participation in different peace sessions, talks, and activities with international delegates and speakers. World Peace Summit 2021 will foster mutual understanding and harness capacity building of like-minded people, social harmony, exposure, and ideation create new impact. It also aims to engage young people in conflict resolution, amplify their voice for social justice, and create a harmonious environment among communities and society. With that, let's move on to introducing our guest of honors, chief guest and special guest and keynote speakers of today's session. We are going to have 4-day session. Today is the first session of our World Peace Summit. This is an immense pleasure to announce the world's best brains of chief guest of honor and keynote speakers in this virtual event organized by Charles Walter Society for Innovation and Research. We feel so blessed to listen to the talk of history creators in the context of peace in this grand global summit. It is really great to be witnessing the enlightening bringing wisdom and an iconic talent together. Let me first invite the special guest of today's evening, Dr. Jagdish Gandhi, legendary educationist India. He is a visionary icon of value-based education in MIT, India for more than 50 years. Dr. Jagdish Gandhi, a visionary and a far-sighted person, has been building bridges of peace across the globe for nearly 50 years. For his long-standing contributions to education in peace, the United Nations awarded the prestigious UNESCO Prize for Peace Education in the year 2002 to his creation, the City Montessori School, popularly known as CMS, which Gandhi founded in 1959 and has been serving as its founder manager. With this small introduction, now I invite Dr. Jagdish Gandhi to deliver his inaugural speech. Sir, over to you.
Dear friends, I organized a conference in London about 46 years back on the issue of world peace through education. In fact, education is the vehicle by which we can create world peace. Because whatever the seeds we are sowing in the small minds, in the receptive minds of the children, what the children are listening with the two ears and watching with the two eyes. So, audio and visual, what is going into the minds of the children, that makes him what the kind of person you want to create. If we want to create peace in the minds of the children, it has to be, we have to start with the children. Nelson Mandela said, education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. And Mahatma Gandhi said, if we are to teach the real peace in this world, if we are to carry on a real war against war, we shall have to begin with the children. It is with the children that we can bring about a change. What is education? Education is a continuous and a creative process. Its aim is to develop the capacities latent in human nature and to coordinate their expression for the enrichment and progress of society by equipping children with material, human, and divine knowledge. Man has three realities of life. Man is a material being, man is a human being, man is a divine being. He needs a balanced education of all the three realities of life. Dear friends, true education releases capacities which are hidden in the nature of a man. The true education releases capacities, develops analytical abilities, confidence in oneself, willpower, and goal setting competencies, and instills the vision that will enable him to become a self motivated agent of social transformation. Paulo Freire says, education changes the people and people change the world. If we want to bring about a change in the world, we want to create peace in the world, we have to start with the unity because peace is a byproduct of unity and unity requires two things, a common concern and a binding thread. For example, the 2.5 billion children of the world who are the one third of the total population of 7.5 billion people of the world. So the future of over 2.5 billion children of the world and the generations yet to be born has become progressively more insecure and unprotected during past 7 decades since the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki and the recent spread of international terrorism, global warming, environmental degradation, stockpiling of arms and ammunition, and ever increasing expenditure on military research, and fear of a third world war and a nuclear holocaust. So the world is facing the problem of total annihilation of the world. So now this is a need to bring about peace. But peace is the product of peace can be brought about only through unity. The first thing that is required is unity, and unity requires two things, a common denominator and a binding thread. For example, 2.5 billion children of the world. and the generations yet to be born are the common concern for all the nations of the world. They are the common concern, and their future is at stake. What is going to be the future of these small children and the children who are yet to be born, who have not taken birth yet, but the future of those children is at stake. So this can be possible only through a binding threat. And what is the binding threat? The World Parliament is the only binding threat, which Mahatma Gandhi said that the nations of the world, free nations of the world, should form a world parliament. Pandit Nehru said, either the world will unite or it will perish. Uh, ये जरा पानी गर्म बगा दो. And Winston Churchill, Prime Minister of England, said the same thing. So is the Gorbachev, the President of USSR, said the same thing. That we must create world a world law and a world parliament to save this world, because the world will not be saved. If we want peace, we need unity. You know, the European Union came into being, and because of the European Union, there uh, came unity in the European countries. They fought the second war. They fought the heinous, most heinous war in the 50s. And you know, the 20th century was made most brutal and murderous on human history. And because of the fact that the Prime Minister of France called a meeting of 76 members of parliament of prominent countries, some prominent members of the parliament. And because of that, he decided to have a European Union and a European Parliament. So European Union came into being, European Parliament came into being, European Court of Human Rights and Justice was made, and Euro currency of 19 countries was made. Because of these things, there is in from the 1950 till today, it has 70 years have passed. There has been no war in Europe. There is no European war thereafter. And dear friends, so we have to unite. They brought unity. And because of unity, peace came in the European region. And because of the peace, the, there is unity and peace is the cause of all prosperity. Europe became prosperous. You can this is this is amply proof that euro currency is the most powerful currency nowadays. So this shows that the euro currency is the most powerful. Now, if we want peace, we need unity, and unity of the world is the requirement of the day. Because if the world is not united, there is going to be a nuclear holocaust. The things are moving in that direction. So many countries are stockpiling arms on ammunitions of mass destruction. So, dear friends, we need to unite the world, and to unite the world, we have some uh, person should come out, take initiative, like the Woodrow Wilson took the initiative after the First World War in 1919 and called a meeting of 42 countries participated in that meeting, and he formed the League of Nations. Because of the League of Nations, there has been no war for 20 years, and there came peace. And in 1938, again the Second World War started. It continued up to 1945. In 1945, there was another president of America who was Franklin D. Roosevelt. He called a meeting of world leaders. Only 51 countries participated, and he formed the United Nations, and it came into being on 24th of October 1950. And since then, 75 years have passed. There has been no war. So, dear friends, what is needed is the unity. of, like the Woodrow Wilson took the initiative. We are trying our best to approach the Prime Minister Modi to call a meeting of the world leaders. He has just on 30th of June, he said in the NDA meeting that India is going to take a lead in the coming up the new world order. The new world order based on law has to come, and that is the only solution. And thereafter, after a week, he had a call with he called Joe Biden, the president, newly elected president of America, and he said, okay, now the world requires a a global order based on law and justice. And Joy Biden said, yes, I agree to that. And they both have agreed for that. So they both should come out and they should have a meeting either in Washington, D.C. or in Delhi. Either jointly they can invite the presidents and prime ministers of the whole world, or they can individually, Modi ji invite or Biden invite. So anybody should take an initiative like that of the Woodrow Wilson took the initiative and formed the League of Nations, like that of the Franklin D. Roosevelt called a meeting, and because of that meeting, 51 countries came forward. They signed a charter of the United Nations. United Nations came into being. For 75 years, there has been no war and there has been peace. And so is the European Union. So for 70 years, there has been no war in Europe. So these are the things that are amply clear that if we unite, the peace will come. The world requires unity. India has two things. One is the philosophy of India, that is of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The whole earth is but one family. And another is the Article 51 of the Constitution of India, which says the state shall endeavor to promote international peace and security, maintain just and honorable relations between nations, foster respect for international law, and encourage settlement of international disputes by arbitration. So now the time has come to realize the mission of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam or Jai Jagat and call a meeting of the world leaders so that we can have a world parliament. And this, if there is a world parliament, there will be a world government. If there is a world government, there will be world court of justice. And if the three institutions are there, settlement of disputes will become easier because so many countries fight with each other. So this is possible. So peace is the byproduct of unity. So that is what is required is the unity. With these words, I thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to say a few words to you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Jagdish Gandhi, for your wonderful inaugural speech. The next speaker of the session is Mr. John N. Calares, founder, Ariston University, USA. Professor at Keller Graduate School of Management in Chicago, USA for 41 years. In 1999, UNESCO recognized Dr. Calares as the Professor of the Year. Between the years 2005 and 2009, he served on the President's Business Advisory Council under President George W. Bush, responsible for educational and training. At the global plateau, he has assisted 12 countries in implementing effective systems that lead to operational excellence. At the national plateau, he has trained dozens of high-hundred Fortune companies with thousands of employees, has authored 8 business books. All are on Amazon under his name, authored 50 business programs that enhance efficiency, effectiveness, and productivity. We are eagerly waiting to hear from you, sir. Over to you. Over to you, Mr. John N. Calares.
Kindly unmute yourself, sir.
There you go. Thank you. Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning to all participants. Thank you for inviting me. I consider it a great honor to be part of your organization and attempt to contribute with my little knowledge to some degree to your organization. I thank Dr. Gandhi, and there is a tough act to follow after all the beautiful things that he said. I realize we are pressed for time, so I will only outline as a first run the points that I would like to make for this organization, for this presentation today. I will begin, just like Dr. Gandhi did, with education, but I will extend it to training and also literacy. People do not know how to read and write around the world. We need to improve literacy. Next, we need to eliminate poverty. Third, we need to eliminate child exploitation. Fourth, we need to bring gender equality. Fifth, we need climate change, climate control. Sixth, and Dr. Gandhi referred to it, we need arms control sales and nuclear proliferation. Seventh, we need true leaders. We need to elect people who exhibit true leadership in the world. Unfortunately enough, the world suffers from the type of people that we have elected, and the people suffer the consequences. Many have said, well, I'm not going to participate, I'm not going to vote. Let me remind everybody that the greatest politician of all times, Pericles the Athenian, said, we consider those who do not take part in politics not as someone who minds his own business, but as a useless one. So participating is important. Cultural integration will be my 8th point. Religious freedom will be the 9th. Clear water for people around the world will be number 10. Innovation and creativity will be 11. Partnering our schools from grammar school, high school, and universities with businesses. We prepare people to go into business and they don't partner in advance. In addition, I would also promote innovation and creativity and try to eliminate corruption that exists around the world. I only have 1.5 more minutes, so let me just close by saying there are organizations, and one of them, the UN, has invited me to give a presentation next year in Europe, and I will, on the topic that you're talking about right now. As part of that presentation that I'm preparing for them, the one thing that I will stress is that, yes, we do have the World Trade Organization, we do have the World Health Organization, we do have the UN nations, the United Nations, and all of them are trying to help education, eliminate poverty and everything else. However, they are not doing it effectively and as efficiently as they should have. In closing, I would say that improve school conditions, build schools. When you build a school, a prison closes. Bring food to schools, make accessible. You in India and many other parts of the world, I come originally from Greece. I know what it takes to go to school and how many kilometers you need to walk, sometimes every day in bad weather conditions to go to school, and that's not fair. People go to school hungry. And with that, I'm going to close my presentation because A, my time is up, and B, I respect that other distinguished speakers will follow. So thank you again for inviting me, and I hope that I contributed to the improvement of your organization. Thank you. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you, Mr. John N. Calares, for your wonderful speech of today's World Peace Summit. And before moving on to the next speaker, I would like to introduce the President and Chairman of CWSIR, Dr. Abhishek Pandey, to the forum. Dr. Abhishek Pandey, you can say a few words to the panelists over here. Then we'll move on to the next speaker.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, all of you, for first of all for accepting the kind invitation from greetings, a great Charles Walter Society for Innovation Research, CWSIR. I am very thankful to Dr. Jagdish Gandhi. He's the founder of CMS, City Montessori School. It's a big chain of school in India. Secondly, I would like to be very, very, very thankful to Professor John N. Kelleris. He's today's speaker, but he's a kind of my mentor, a kind of my guru, my inspiration, influence. And I'm very thankful to Chok Ravinder, director of Punjab University, Chandigarh. Thankful to each one of you all today, presenting your part and trying to bring peace on the planet. Thank you much for being with us. Thank you very much.
Now I invite the next speaker, Dr. Ahmad R. Abadat, Educationist, Malaysia. He is an assistant professor, postgraduate center, management and science university, Malaysia. He is a visiting professor and external examiner in Medan Academy of Tourism. He holds a doctoral degree in hospitality management from University Science, Malaysia. He worked as an assistant professor, Amman Applied University College, Amman, Jordan, and senior lecturer and research coordinator in the School of Hospitality and Creative Arts, Management and Science University, Selangor, Malaysia, and worked as a researcher at Sustainable Tourism Research Cluster, Malaysia. He was working for the Jordanian hospitality industry for 17 years. On behalf of CWSIR, I wholeheartedly invite you to ignite the young minds with your speech, sir. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Prof, for your nice introduction. Thank you, everybody, for being with us today. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night. And thanks so much to Professor Gandhi, Professor John, for your nice talk. Please allow me to share with you a few slides. As a part of tourism industry and hospitality, I will take you for a small virtual tour for 5 minutes. This is the time I got from the committee to take you far away from the places you are having there, okay? So I will be sharing my small slide. I will be all talking about tourism as a global peace industry. And yes, the peace is one of the SDGs, number 16 actually, from the Sustainable Development Goal for the UN, the peace, justice, and the strong institution. So what about the tourism and the peace? It's the concept is not not a new invention. It's a way of promoting a peace and mutual understanding. It's the good practice contributing to the conflict resolution, creation of intellectual understanding, and building culture and the global social justice. So what about the tourism also and the peace building culture? It came in the three perspectives, which are the personal dimensions, the social dimension, and the environmental dimension. Peace tourism mainly focus on environment quality, economic development, and the community nourishment effort. And it is this cause of being shifted from the tourism as a peacemaker to tourism as a peacekeeper. As a passport of tourism is a passport to peace, where it's playing a vital role in building the peace by empowering and community engagement. However, tourism brings people also together and open people's mind. Without tourism, we will never understand each other. We will never understand the other. We will never having the peace among each other. It's promoting the peace wherever the local community involvement, sustainable development, economic growth, and providing the social, cultural benefit and responsible practices of the tourism. Also, it's a conflict resolution, while it had a significant role in the mitigation of diverse conflict, be it social and cultural and political economics. It's also been used as an instrument for restoration of the peace and stability in the politically oriented conflict. It helped also in restoration of the peace and stability in different strife-torn settings across the world. So thank you so much for being with me in this virtual tour. Thank you so much, and I will be back the mic to you, Prof.
Thank you so much, sir. Next, I would like to invite Pooja, Talasara, Bandare, Eduprana, Singapore to share his views and experience on peace. Ma'am, over to you.
Thank you so much. Namaste, bonjour. It's a real pleasure to be on this platform and hearing all of you. So I'm going to share peace from the perspective of my career journey as a human resources and now as a coach. So I'm going to weave the story around what I have experienced peace as. So I'm going to start with a small story. And so there was a king, and king wanted to know that how does the piece look like. So he invited all the painters, and he said, like, paint for me. How does the piece look like? So all the painters got on the task because obviously the king had announced that whoever is going to come up with a picture which is going to depict peace is going to get an award. And all the painters were on the task. Now, one of the painting was with the beautiful mountains, the perfect scenic. And the other painting was not, the cloud was like, it was looking like the sky is angry, the mountains were bare, and there was nothing perfect in that picture. And finally, when the king announced, it was the other painting which was been announced as a winner. And everyone started wondering, like, why the other painting? So people were very curious, and when they went closer, they saw that there was a bush which was coming out from the crack of the rock, and there was a bird which was laying the nest there. So what is peace according to me is there can be a lot of unsettling things around us, but how aligned are we internally is the definition of peace. There can be many external war, but I think the one battle which all of us struggle is the battle within us. Many of times, I wonder, like, why when a person departs, we say, like, rest in peace. It's probably because that's the only time when a person tunes in and when the person is more aligned within themselves. So I'll take a couple of more minutes, and I would want to say that when I was decoding and trying to demystify peace, I think we need to take care of 3 touch points: thoughts, feelings, and actions. So peace is going to be reflected if we take care of all those 3 touch points. And how do we go about achieving it? If we look at the word peace, the P in the peace, it stands for being present in the moment. It's so important to be present in the moment. E, continuously, all of us have a purpose which energizes us. So we need to know what is the purpose which is going to energize us. Adversity, A, like what are the adversity is going to be there? How well are you going to hold the ground? Because the peace is more of internal work here in the mindset, in our thoughts and feelings. C, it is the consistency, and E, thereafter it expands, and education provides a link to the peace. Last, I want to say the power to peace is when we are present in the moment, when we take ownership, and we raise above the trap of comparing, complaining, criticizing, because I think that's the trap, which takes away the mental peace. E, continuously evolve, and last, reflecting and redirecting on the things which are not working. So thank you once again. I really enjoyed and it was an honor to be on this platform. Thank you for your kind generosity of listening to me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for your wonderful speech. Next, I would like to invite Professor Chatak Ravi Inder Singh, Director, Punjab University, Regional Campus, Ludhiana, India. Sir is a member of Undergraduate Board of Studies, Faculty of Commerce, Punjab University, Chandigarh from 2013 to 2015, and he is a member of Syllabus Committee, Punjab State Cooperative Agricultural Development Bank Training Center, Chandigarh. And he is a member working group for Certified Professional Bankers in Cooperative Course, Center for Professional Excellence in Cooperative Bankers, Institute of Rural Development. And he has been awarded the Best Teacher Award by Lions Club, Ludhiana in September 2010. Now I invite Dr. Chatak Ravi Inder Singh to felicitate the session with his wonderful speech.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Nagarajan. Before I proceed ahead with my speech, I would like to extend my thanks to Dr. Abhishek Pandey, the president of the Charles Walter Society, for giving me this opportunity of getting associated with this wonderful event. And I must appreciate the whole team of this Charles Walter Society for selecting this, a very, nice theme for this World Summit. And as you know, they have put in a network of intellectual people from around the world. It is an excellent job they are doing. Today we all have gathered here to talk about this topic, world peace. And I would like to start my talk in this way. Ever since I gained consciousness on this planet, I have been told, and I have been reading it also, that man is a social animal. And what I see when I look around, I feel that man is not a social animal. It's actually a wild animal. And maybe if you don't, feel unhappy about it, I feel that man is, even more wilder than the wild animals living in the forest. When we look around, we read the newspapers, we listen to the news, appearing in the news channels. We see that man is killing man, and the scale with which man is causing harm to its own species. No other species of animals, they're causing that kind of harm to their species. And we are putting a lot of energy, lot of efforts actually in controlling the man around the world. I was just looking into the data. I found that we are spending somewhere around $14.6 trillion in a year on protecting the countries from the enemies, from the terrorist activities and all those things. And in case we calculate this amount in terms of per capita expenditure, it comes to be around $1,909 per person in a year. We are spending on building this peace. And this is a huge amount in countries like Congo, Zimbabwe, many of the South African countries. Per capita income is less than $1,909, which we are actually spending on promoting peace in the world. I was just going through the data, which actually is given by Institute of Economic and Peace, which published the Global Peace Index. What I found is they are publishing this index since 2007. During the last 12 years, the world peace level has gone down by 0.34 score, by a score of 0.34. And 9 out of the 9 years, in 9 years out of the 12 years during which they were, ranking the world on peace parameter, the level of peace has gone down. And we know Mr. John Calras, Dr. Jagdish Gandhi, they were speaking about governance and all those things in the beginning. And the most important point they raised was about the education. It is very much right that unless until we focus on providing the right kind of education to our people, will not be able to promote the level of peace in the world. But what I look around, when we provide education to our kids, what we are doing, we are promoting, we are not, making them good human beings. What we are doing is, we are, our education is focusing on, in many of the countries, on, making these students, these kids in good, score minting machines. We are not, in many of the cases, teaching ethics and all, the value of ethics and all those things to them. So we need to focus onto this thing. We need to teach to our kids the importance of respecting other people's rights. And I think in case this education is done in that way, and in case we are, able to give the right kind of thinking to our kids, it will be wonderful contribution in building peace in the world. And ever since the inception of this mankind onto this earth, as I was saying in the beginning itself, we actually have been doing wrong things. The mankind causing damage to the other people on this planet. But what are people have done? A concept of religion that has been put into place. Through religion, the societies, they are being controlled. The mindset of the people is being controlled, and they are being convinced that, as per the religious requirements, they should be friendly with the other people. But what has happened? The religious teachings over a period of time, they are, gone haywire. They're not, they have not remained effective. Then the second thing is the, law and, order system. We have put in place number of rules and regulations and laws for, punishing those people who cause damage to the society, who cause damage to the human beings. But even judicial system, in many of the cases, they, have gone weak. In case we are able to ensure that our religious system, our education system, our, judicial system, they are effective, they are efficient, they are strong, then I think we'll be able to promote peace in the world. And one thing more important into this is the, use of the energy of human beings into the right direction. We need to see onto this, that the people, they get the right kind of employment opportunities. Their energy is channelized into productive, avenues. And in case we are able to do that, we'll be able to, promote the level of peace in the world. So these are few points which I wanted to share with all of you, though there are many points which I wanted to share, but I feel there's a shortage of time. With these words, I would like to conclude my, experience here. And once again, thanks a lot to Abhishek Pandeji and his entire team for this great event. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Professor Ravi Inder, for your enlightening speech. Now I would like to invite Dr. Dheeraj. Dr. Dheeraj, the session is yours. Please enlighten the session with your wonderful speech.
Well, good evening, everyone. It has been a great pleasure for me to be a part of this symposium, I should be saying, and particularly listening to wonderful professionals. I salute my guru, my mentor, Dr. Jagdish Gandhi, who has initiated the concept of quality and peace in the world, starting from City Montessori School, Lucknow, in a big way. And I take this opportunity to thank him for the wonderful dose he has been giving to the students, and particularly on account of making peace a habit rather than an occasional occurrence. And that is what is we believe in Jai Jagat, the philosophy of Jai Jagat, which talks about peace in the world. And keeping the track on that notion, since I'm mentored by his presence and his collaboration, I always take him as my guru for world peace education. And I would like to read a little about the initiative being taken by City Montessori School to the peace we have in this particular organization. We have World Peace Prayer, which probably during my working there for over 14 years, I could encounter and feel the presence of that peace capsule among all the children. And what they practice is about the World Peace Prayer, which has been one of the routine of the assemblies. So I believe all the heads of schools of the world all around who are watching us can integrate that as a part of a quality benchmark. And I request all of you to visit the website of City Montessori School and try to imbibe some of the wonderful practices if you want peace to practice as a notion. Also, one very good initiative taken by the school is about the tableau which they have every year during the showcase. And that tableau represents the quality initiatives of world peace and unity. And that signature grounds the conduct and also the initiation of having a vision and mission for that particular school. For me, practice of world peace and prosperity has to be one of the life skills of the children. In particular, as a teacher trainer myself and a school auditor, we look forward to initiating this concept everywhere, all across. And that works wonders. Let me tell you, they all are the future builders of the world around. And probably what all inventions and discoveries will take place tomorrow will be done by our students, who are learning. And 10 years, 20 years from now, so their minds need to be resourceful, creative, and innovative. with the capsule of coming together, working together. And here I would like to also introduce the concept of Kaizen, which is continuous development. And with the say that if you rest, you rust. So you need to continue working on the innovations, the discoveries, the action research by the teachers in the classroom about various topics which we are looking forward. We had a great challenge during the COVID times. But when I always talk to the teachers, when I initiate their motivation and other things, they always come up to say that, yeah, I converted that challenge into the opportunity. And today I'm well versed with the power of technology. I've been talking, I've been sharing ideas, and now I club to practicing something new which has not been done ever before in my school, because we are now competing with the world. So looking at that, COVID has given us, lessons to learn, and it has been a great rediscovery of delivery of education. Of course, peace and unity. Now we know that we are giving vaccines to various countries, and now in India also we have covered a large number of people being vaccinated. So that is all the initiative of peace as a practice. That is all from my end. Thank you very much, and God bless everybody.
Thank you, sir. Next, I invite Ms. Fadmat Munna, Director General, Maldives Media Council, Maldives, to share his views on peace. Ma'am, over to you. Ma'am, please unmute yourself. Yeah.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much. Let me share my screen. Must disable participant screen, so I cannot share my screen right now.
Yes, ma'am. Now you can share your screen.
Is my slides visible?
Perfectly, perfectly. It is visible.
Okay. Thank you. Warm greetings to all the participants. Just Water Society for Innovation Research, World Peace Summit. I'm so much grateful and thank you for the Charles Water Society Innovation and Research, and especially Dr. Albert for giving me this opportunity. I'm so honored to present my presentation here. Well, we are talking about peace building, and I'll be focusing on how human resource management and women can build peace.
Madam, can you play your presentation, please? Can you play it?
Is it? Now you can see this?
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Okay. Well, human resource management indicates human well-being and sustainable approaches in building peace building. Right? Research has shown that women participating contributes peace negotiation and increase sustainable peace drastically in decision making. And also, it's the sad thing is, though our populations are half of populations are women, only few women are holding government positions or the parliament positions. In so, just hold on. I think my laptop is. Therefore, government need to support and develop a framework or paradigm for the capacity building in women and gender equality and their representation and decision-making level as also. For the good governance and leadership, gender should have equal roles of opportunities involving liable wages. According to Georgetown Institute for Women, Peace and Security 2020 research says that they are more focusing on important roles that women plays in preventing conflicts and growth.
I think due to some technical issue, he is out of the room. Maybe I can invite the next speaker. Maybe she can address after some time. It is time to invite the most expected and the special guest of today's evening, Edward Gonzalez, NASA, USA. Because the entire country is talking about Mars landing. So today he is with us to share a lot of information regarding Mars landing and NASA's contribution in the field of space. And he is with NASA for more than 20 years. He is very active in space engineering. So on behalf of CWSIR, I wholeheartedly welcome the chief guest of today's evening, Mr. Edward. Sir, I request you to enlighten at the session with your vast experience. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Dr. Pandey, for inviting me to this very prestigious event. I'm very humbled and very honored to be here. Yes, a few days ago, Mars Perseverance landed on the Mars surface. It was very exciting times. In years past, I worked at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory for over 17 years. I've worked at NASA headquarters, and now I'm working at NASA Goddard, where some of the missions that they have are the James Webb Telescope and others like that, New Horizons. We study the sun, heliophysics, but it was an exciting time for Mars Perseverance. It landed safely on Mars. It immediately sent images back. In the next week or so, it is going to launch a helicopter, which has never been done before. And that helicopter is going to have 5 successful missions. At first, it will just go up and down, and then it will try a variety of other things, getting a little more challenging as they are successful with the mission after mission. And it's only supposed to last about 30 days, 31 days, the helicopter. But we look forward to getting back all of the amazing science. To talk to the point of our last speaker, which he was talking about human resources and women and others, I am the diversity, equity, and inclusion lead for NASA Goddard. And some of the things that I do is I encourage students from underserved, underrepresented communities, people of color, people from all walks of life, that if I can work for NASA, you can work for NASA too. It is an amazing place, but the aerospace industry, whether it's NASA, SpaceX, Blue Horizon, Blue Origin, Lockheed, Boeing, there's a place for everyone. It takes a village to run an aerospace industry. It takes a lot of people, a lot of dedicated people that are very passionate about what they do. And I know when I wake up in the morning, I'm very excited to go to work. I never wake up and think, I don't feel like doing this today. Every day I want to do what I do. And I get to meet some beautiful, wonderful people doing these amazing things that you wouldn't dream was possible. When I was 7 years old, my father brought me into the house. I was outside playing, and he showed me Apollo 13. And as you know, on that mission, the astronauts had an anomaly, and there was an explosion in space. Not only were they not going to make it to the moon, as that was their original mission, but they didn't have enough fuel or energy to come back to Earth. But the flight director, Gene Kranz, back then said, failure is not an option. We're going to bring them home, and we're going to bring them home safely. And boy, did he ever. The astronauts came back safely, just like he said he would do it. And some of the things that I believe in, if there is a problem, we're going to learn from that problem. If we fall down, we're going to get back up. And we're going to figure out what the problem is, and we're going to provide solutions. And that's what I think is the key to success. That even if you have an anomaly and you don't have a good day, that the next day will be a better day. The next week will be a better day. The next year will be a better year. And I believe that. So with that, I'd like to turn the microphone back to you and just say thank you very much for having me. I'm very humbled and pleased to be here. And Dr. Pandey, again, thank you so much for having me here today.
Thank you, Edward, for your time and presence. Next, I would like to welcome Ismat Sareen, educationist from Bangladesh, to share his views and experience to the forum.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Nagarajan, for inviting me and welcoming me to the Peace Summit. So I would like to begin with my gratitude towards Dr. Abhishek Pandey for having me here with the Charles Walter Society for Research and Innovation. So I really feel humbled to be sharing my views on it, on peace, and I mean with such a wonderful and amazing audience and all the distinguished speakers over here. So in my case, I think peace, in my view, peace is something which we cannot just expect. Rather, we should welcome it with an open hand and open mind, and we should establish it. This is something that we cannot expect for the humanity to happen. Rather, we have to make it happen. So this is what I believe. This is what my view about education and peace is, and about peace. So whenever I talk about peace, I believe education comes on our way, and without education, I mean, as an educationist, I always have believed that education is the only key towards establishing peace in this whole world and beyond. So education, in my view, is something that makes us complete. And of course, education can only encourage creativity and a critical mind. So a critical mind always thinks for the betterment of the society and for the betterment of the whole world, and for the betterment of peace and establishment of peace around all around us. So a critical mind can always be created if we actually offer a proper education towards the mass people. If we talk about establishing peace, obviously I believe the education that we need to promote the most is the holistic education, because this is the only key towards establishing respect towards all the walks of life and all the works of knowledge around us. So if we really think of peace and prosperity, we need to think of establishing a holistic approach, starting from the very beginning of our education system. I mean, it's not like that we started from the university level, but I think we should give it a go from the very beginning of, like, when we start imparting education towards our children. And it is something which is the mindset for our children that we can promote for this 21st century. And a holistic approach can only ensure not only respect towards others, rather it can make us think about the betterment of the society. It can make us think about the climate change issues and how we can come up with the problems, solution or to the problems. And it can also make us ensure how we can work towards the sustainable development of the whole world. And if we think of the UN developmental goals, the sustainable developmental goals, obviously we know that peace is a huge part of it, and education is a part of it. But the only issue that actually is coming nowadays, in our view, is how we can interlink all these educational, all these sustainable goals. And it's not only peace; it's peace which would be promoted by all the other sustainable goals which should be achieved. And so I think these all sustainable goals that we are talking about. I mean, when we're talking about United Nations sustainable goals, we are not talking about only peace, or we're not talking about peace as a separate thing. I think rather we should interlink it with other sustainable goals, and make sure that we all are promoting peace through our individual goals. So as an educationist, I think, since I'm working for education and the pedagogical development around the world, and I also do research in education, so I think it's my way of promoting peace. And I think in my case, this is the way I also work with green education. So I think it's a way of looking into promoting peace. But rather than that, there are lots of other options which we can actually come up with, and from wherever we are, whatever we are doing, whichever walk of life we are working on, it's something that we can peace is something that we can always promote through our own own services towards the society. So it's not only professionally, rather than I think it should be a goal. Peace is something which should be a goal for us as a person, as an individual, as a professional, and also in whichever part of the world we belong to, whichever part of the world we represent. It should be a prime option for us to make the world livable and to make the world a better place. So yeah, I think there are certainly, of course, there are certainly different visions that we are actually obviously listening to, and this Peace Summit is all about sharing and imparting our own views with others. So I think this is a wonderful way of coming up with newer ideas and newer views towards establishing peace. And I think there is nothing better than sharing and obviously caring for each other and establishing peace. So with that comment, I would like to finish, and I would like to thank everyone for giving me a here with this in this summit, and thank you very much for having me here. Thank you. Sir, we can't hear you.
Kindly unmute you.
Thank you, Ms. Ismat Sareen, for your wonderful session. Within 5 minutes, you have shared a lot of information regarding your views on peace. Thank you so much on behalf of CWSIR. Once again, I extend my heartfelt thanks to you. Next, I would like to invite Professor Dr. Amina Omrain, University of Sfax, Indonesia. Professor Dr. Amina.
Excuse me. Sorry. Well, okay, good evening from Indonesia. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So this is I want to say thank you very much to the Cherry SR to inviting me here and having me in this evening. So I want to say thank you to all of the participants, the keynote speakers that attending in this great and wonderful World Peace Summit. So can I share my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, now you can share your screen.
Okay, thank you. This is visible?
Yes, ma'am, yes.
Okay, my name is Mutmainna. You can call me Nina. I'm from Indonesia. This is a little bit my profile, my organization, international and national organization. Well, we are talking about the Peace Summit, and also because I am educator, my area, this is education. My topic today about creating a 21st century learning environment, innovative tool to facilitate student learning, collaboration, and creativity. Why this is very important today, right now, about the having a face in the virtual era right now in the global competition today. Well, I choose my topic today. This is because some of the phenomena that actually happening today during the COVID-19, we have a practice, namely physical distancing and the social distancing. And also I divided this is into the 5 highlight challenge. And also this is as the problem solving to our or in education, in our education right now. The 5 highlight here, the first one is about injected artificial intelligence in education. Our education, we are transformation today, right now, and we must be adapt with this new condition today. And also integration, the ICT in the classroom, information, communication, and the technology in the classroom. This is very important. And also how to design our material, our classroom, our activity to make our student more fun, enjoyable, and happy during learning and teaching process. And also this is because we are in the 21st century skill. That's why we need to be how to access the ICT, use of ICT, and the student have ICT competence. And also the edutainment concept, I will share to you that what I have doing in my university, in my classroom, when we are in the challenge of the COVID-19. So to cover all of the problems, I divided our menu today that we are going to talking about the integrating a 21st century skill into the teaching and learning process, teaching and learning with information, communication, and technology, education, and entertainment together. Why this is very important? Well, this is some of the phenomenon. This is the data from the British Council finding and tell us about the condition when we are must be integration the technology in our learning and teaching process. Because we are lost our physical classroom and then we are moving into the virtual classroom, we are practice remote teaching and also distance learning and many more. And this is most of the teacher or educator in many countries here that you can see here based on the data. Remote teaching, this is a new thing. This is a new with some of the educators. And most of them, they don't have a good feeling. They are anxiety. They are most of the educator right now. They are get shock culture, how to integrate it, the ICT, the technology, the platform, or the so many tools or media in the learning and teaching process or on education sector. Well, this is the education right now. Actually, education, we are we are just as educator, we are just giving guide for our student. Mean that here the knowledge right now in navigation, the knowledge is navigation. And this is the integrating 21st century skill into the teaching and learning. And we need to be, all of the teacher right now, we wanna should have technological competence and the ability to help a student to use technology effectively. All the school or universities should be required to integration the 21st century skill into learning. And also we need to be get the policymaker to facilitate us with the infrastructure or ICT infrastructure. So you know that in Indonesia, we are a developing country, we are a big country with so many population, and also 50% in my country, we are in the blank spot. Blank spot, namely, mean here there is no internet connection, and most of the student and the teacher, they don't have namely device here, internet connection. Why this is a 21st century skill very important today to integrating in this global era? Because, sorry, this is for the educator. We need to be integrated all of them, and also the technology is use the technology as a teaching and learning tool. And also educator right now indicate that incorporating 21st century skill disease into teaching that have a positive impact for the student in learning and teaching process, and they are more have engagement in learning environment or online environment. And also this is the 5 case 21st century skill and behavior that a teacher need to think right now, because education, this is not only about the transfer knowledge. In education, to be having a more pitch in education, this is we need to be how to improve the student. Mean here they are competent, their skill, behavior, attitude, character, value, and morality. That's why learning is not longer a solo activities. We need to be how to use namely here a student-centered learning approach. And also to apply or implementation in the classroom, we need to be collaboration between the student and the teacher, and also we must consideration about the student condition. And this is in Indonesia, my country condition, because most of the teacher and also the student, they don't have or they are mostly they are in low competent or low skill how to use, how to teach, and how to train by using the technology. So what should we do when most of the people, the teacher or the student, they don't have device or internet connection? So it will be, we are not free, not enjoyable anymore, and then we are not fun in our learning and teaching process. In another side, we must integrating the technology to facilitate the student with the 21st century skill. What should we do? This is the problem in our country, and our Ministry Education and Culture have policy about freedom to learn, how to make our learning and teaching process, our virtual learning and teaching process will be more a simple interaction. So this is the intersection between pedagogy and the technology in my country. This is about the system. When the system this is a change. Also we must know, because we are our daily activity right now, everything this is handled by the Internet of Things. Well, this is the teaching and learning with information and communication technology. This is the data from the world most used social platform. Mostly we are used as social media, Facebook, YouTube, and WhatsApp. And also this is in Indonesia, in my country, most of the students, most of the people, we are use Google, YouTube, Facebook, and WhatsApp. And based on this the data, we can designing and development our material, and then redesign our curriculum based on the condition, and then use ICT, how to integration the ICT in our classroom. And also this is the 21st century technology for 21st century teacher, because pedagogical, this is not only about what is the modern technology, what is actually the good technology, but this is come back again with our student condition. For example, in my university, I use Zoom, but actually most of the students, they don't have a good connection, or they don't have a good bandwidth or internet connection. That's why they are only familiar by using WhatsApp, by using Facebook, and then by using YouTube. That's why we can designing our material, and then also we can integration and implementation WhatsApp or Google Classroom, and then our and actually, to get more peace and free in education, you know that a 21st century skill and the technology have a good correlation, because we are teach a human, we are not teach a machine or robot, and also how we can facilitate our student with the higher of thinking skill related to the Bloom taxonomy. This is the pedagogical way that you can use in your activities in your classroom if you want to achieve a higher of thinking skill. The student more have critical thinking, and also they have a problem solving. And this is the ICT used in the outside of the school. Why this is very important? Because when we are in learning and teaching process in the virtual classroom, this is not only about between the student and the teacher, but this is actually engage the parents, administration, and also this is harnessing educational data for the teaching. Well, the next about the ICT used in the classroom, and then this is the contextual factor. You know that in ICT we can use educational gaming, e-learning, online course, tutorial, maybe Right now, we can use, for example, the platform like a MOOC, and also open educational resources in learning and training platform. There are many learning or training platform, for example, from Stanford University, training with the Coursera course. Well, the ICT in learning and teaching process, well, this is very important because when we are integration in the classroom, this is actually mobile learning, and then the student more have autonomy, self-direct and self-determined in the learning process. And also because our student condition today, they are in the generation C or Gen Z. They are used the social media in their activities. Most of them are familiar with the social media, and that's why when you wanted to designing and then you are redesign your curriculum, your syllabus, and also your activities in the classroom, you can analyze what is actually your student need, what they want, and what they lack.
Doctor,
And this is the social media, and this is this is the social media in the classroom, and also education and entertainment. This is very important. Yeah. A little bit. This is education and entertainment together. This is in one concept. Most of the data that finding here by using a film, this is a very good in learning and teaching process. Well, this is the example of my classroom when I use film, designing film as a material in the classroom. I just wanna show to you. I break down to get some of the page here, interactional design, only 5 here to achieve Nemali Bloom taxonomy. For example, this is you playing the film. In the warm-up category here, in the warm-up phase, you can ask your student to understanding and remember. Normally here, while they are watching the movie, the student interacts to understand about the robot, computer, and technology. For example, this is the film about a computer and the technology. And when watching the movie, the students are hoping to remember the film chronology. This is still in lower thinking skill based on the Bloom taxonomy. And then in the presenting, you can ask your students to brainstorming, and this is apply, name and analyze. And the next in the practice, the student will discuss the film. They will be creating the concept, and also they will be retelling the video based on they watch it, and then create their presentation, and then record by using TikTok, for example, and then upload in YouTube. And also the evaluation, the student will answer the question based on the material given. And also the last, before I close in my presentation, there is no single approach that is effective to all. One should consider the available technologies and effective integration of information communication and technology in teaching and learning. This is not about the latest and the most advanced technology, but come back again with your student condition. And also we use technology, this is to make our learning and teaching process to be more practice, effective, and efficient. I think this is enough for me. This is some of the example of my student, my classroom that I share to you. Yeah, thank you for having me today. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Doctor. You can stop sharing your screen. We are running short of time, hence I request all the speakers to limit your speech within 5 to 7 minutes, so that we can wind up the first day session as per our schedule before 9:30 p.m. today. Next, I would like to welcome Ms. Ram Sinikas, founder, World Women Conference and Awards, Starpreneurs TV USA, to enlighten the session.
Good morning from Mexico. My name is Rania Sinikas, and as said, I'm the founder of World Women Conference and Awards and Untold Story Foundation. And thank you very much for this invitation. And I'm very happy to see that education has been considered as the center key of this Peace Summit. So violence against women will only end when gender equality and the full empowerment of women will be a reality. So how can we truly empower women and have the peace and security in their lives? The problem is the power, and the solution is to empower. To be empowered is to authentically really step into who we are as women, to embrace the feminine and question the very masculine world that we have helped to create. We need to take 100% responsibility for what is happening in our society instead of waiting someone else to fix it, and commit to educating and inspiring future generations in a different way. To do that, we must first look at ourselves and our leadership and understand what it means to be authentic, who we are as leaders. What do we really see in ourselves, and what do we really want to bring out to our world? Who do we want to be, and what energy do we want to take out into this world? It is in this truth that will really truly impact and change our ecosystems, because having the courage to bring our whole selves into our leadership has the power to change the world, especially in leadership for women. Empowerment is the can-do factor. It is going from I cannot to I can. That means creating a network of mentors and supporters that provide the knowledge of how someone's life can be changed. You and me, all of us can do that. Whether in poor or rich countries, Afghanistan or the United States of America, millennial women are empowered through three main practices. Number one, self-awareness or awakening, understanding that you have the power to change your life. Number two, experience. Number three, key, education. Millennial women are pulling their empowerment muscles using two core tools, voice and choice. They are using their voices to speak up for themselves, and more importantly, for those who cannot, our sisterhoods in other side of the world. They also consciously and intentionally make different choices to make changes in their life. We know that education is the best tool to tackle harmful gender stereotypes, build girls and young women's confidence, and equip them with the skills they need to learn in order to be safe. Greta Thunberg, Emma Gonzalez are just two young women from across the country using their voices to stand a more equal, sustainable, and safer world. The transformative power of education for girls and their allies cannot be overstated. This is the key to ensure the peace and the security for girls and women. And it is a golden opportunity to tackle the harmful gender stereotypes that hold girls back, and to provide children of all genders with the knowledge they need to make safe and empowered decisions about their own bodies and futures. In the past decade, we have seen major progress in levels of primary school enrollment and increased girls' access to education. But we must be bolder. Despite of our progress, over 260 million children remain out of school worldwide. 130 million of whom are girls. Less than 1 in 3 girls in sub-Saharan Africa, and fewer than half in South Asia enrolled in secondary school. 15 million girls of primary school age will never learn to read or write. And even for those who do, success is challenging in a world in which girls' ambitions are routinely dismissed and undermined, not to mention their human rights. If we do not take action to finance education and target funds to address the barriers faced by adolescent girls, over 400 girls will not secure secondary level skills by 2030. So we must understand that the power and the potential of girls and women are at stake, not to mention their security and the peace. All world leaders know that investing in girls' education is both the morally right and smart thing to do. Each additional year of schooling for a girl increases her future income an estimated 10 to 20%. And in West and Central Africa, the direct impact of 1% increase in girls reaching secondary education results in economic growth increase of 0.3%. Where girls are educated and empowered to learn, lead, decide, and thrive, whole nations rewards. Calling on all nations to take action and gender transformative education seeks to challenge and eliminate gender biases and discrimination, not only in the classroom, but in society more broadly. It takes consideration girls and boys' specific needs, interests, and lived experience, and works towards equal educational outcomes for girls and boys. This includes equal access to education, participation in classroom, learning achievements, and competition. Beyond the basic education, targeted investments are needed to improve the quality and the effectiveness of technical, vocational education and training for adolescent girls and young women. And we need to understand that providing girls with the skills and capabilities for decent work and therefore help to ensure a smooth transition into employment and entrepreneurship. We as leaders have the opportunity to transform the lives of girls and women around the world through a commitment of inclusive quality education for all children. What will you do as leader to ensure peace and security for girls and women and for our nations? Thank you very much for bringing me this opportunity to talk about empowerment through the education, which is really truly the key to peace, security, human rights. And if we educate our young girls and boys the same way, and when boys really have the idea what it really means to honor a woman, we're not going to have problems as we have with human rights, violence against women, and etc. So can we change it? Yes. Is it up to us? Yes. So I invite you to all tackle this problem, and we can do it together. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ramsanigas, for your wonderful session. Next, I would like to invite Dr. Rasha Yusuf, Assistant Professor, AUC University, Egypt. I'm over to you.
Yes, I'm here. Hello.
Yeah.
Doctor, how are you? Can I make a share screen first?
Yes, ma'am. You can share the screen.
Okay. First of all, good afternoon from Egypt, and really it's a great honor to be invited to such international conference. Today I'll talk about, or I choose to talk about peace education and transformative response to major social issues. All of us know that Mother Teresa has a wonderful proverbs or idioms which said, works of love are works of peace. So let us first know the meaning or what is peace. And first, peace is not just the absence of war, or it's the wholeness of life where every person can live with dignity. Peace also is the enhancement of life, and it's the general well-being of the individual himself. But peace education, it's a holistic response as it's concerned with the issues and the problems related to educational fields, in special. It seems to have an international dimension and historical roots. It also aims to develop international understanding and universal brotherhood. Today, I chose to talk about a wonderful organization in Egypt, which called CISV, Egypt Programs. CISV is an international organization that educates and inspires actions for a more just and peaceful world. founded over 60 years ago. Also, CICV Egypt is a global movement dedicated to educating and inspiring action for peace. In CICV educational, they believe that we can help change the world by providing love-changing experiences and building friendship that lasts a lifetime. All CICV educational programs are organized and run by dedicated volunteers. They aim to help our participants of all ages to develop the skills they need to take a lead and make a positive differences. At the heart of everything we do is a friendship, and in line with our founding belief that peace is possible through friendship and mutual understanding. CICV villages are international camps that inspire from 11 years old children to imagine a more just a peaceful world. The children come together from many different countries to take part in a variety of educational, cultural, and fun activities. A village creates a safe, fun setting in which your children or our children will learn with children from around the world about each other, lives and culture, and how to communicate or operate or cooperate and live together. The village learning experiences and the friendship made will last our children as a lifetime. CISV approaches to learning to develop or to deliver their peace education in a way that is age appropriate and informal and experimental. Experimental learning or learning by doing is simply a way of saying learning from direct experience or rather than from reading books or listening to lecture and etc. It's a characteristic of all CICV program all over the world, and activities is fun first and effective. Learning by doing combined with their focus on building friendship activities, lasting learning outcomes that impact on their participants emotionally and in their everyday lives. Also, CISV peace education provides us or provides children with the attitude, skills, and knowledge to become agents of change locally and globally. Through peace education, CICV seeks to educate and inspire our participants to become active global citizens and working towards a more just a peaceful world. Peace education looks at local and global issues that are relevant to us all, recognizing that peace can mean much more than the absence of war. In fact, peace education encourages us to look at a wide range of issues and help us gain a better understanding of our own identity within the local and global community. Basic human rights, as well as forms of exploitation and injustice, conflicts and how they can cause, prevented and resolved, sustainable solution for environment and development issues also. Diversity of CISV to explore the identity of the individual and asks us to consider ourselves within our own and the wider community. Human rights within this organization considers how human rights affect every aspect of our lives and how violations can lie at the root of problems such as poverty, violence, and loneliness. I have finished my presentation, and thanks a lot for being today in such an amazing conference and international. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Doctor. You can stop sharing your screen. Next, I would like to invite Ms. Dina Constantoglu, Special Education Expert in EFL Greece. Ma'am, over to you.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Greetings to the esteemed educators and academicians. Allow me to express my gratitude for being here today. It was an invitation that got me by surprise, which was very nice. Thank you very much for that. May I share my screen? Because I have a short presentation.
Yes, ma'am, you can share.
Thank you. Okay. Allow me to make this in presentation mode. Good. Thank you. So today I'm going to discuss a bit about global identities, diversity, empathy, and humanism. As Dr. Jeff Duncan, an associate professor at San Francisco State University, said, schooling is the process by which you institutionalize people to accept their place in a society, while education is the process through which you teach them to transform it. It was in 1948, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, where the following were actually consolidated legally. Education shall be directed to the full development of the human personality and to the strengthening of respect for human rights and fundamental freedoms. It shall promote understanding, tolerance, friendship among all nations, racial or religious groups, and shall further the activities for the maintenance of peace. So many years have gone by, and different educational frameworks have actually attempted to instill values, enliven humanism, and build responsible and empathetic citizens. You can see some of the frameworks here, such as the humanistic approach, the culturally relevant pedagogy, ethics education, civics education, values education, character education, human rights pedagogy, social education, inclusive education, peace education, and intercultural education, to name just a few, because there are more. Reasons for why haven't educational approaches met with goal success so far vary, but the most simple yet prominent one is that though attainable global citizenship is very hard to teach. Global community membership denotes awareness of current circumstances and events globally. It demands critical reflection on the part of the students, and it kindles understanding of what is happening around us in the world. It eventually leads to acceptance of diversity and assuming responsibility. Global citizenship actually lies in social participation. As Hank Rubin, founding director at Frederick Douglass Center for Collaborative Leadership, said, we delude ourselves as educators and fail our civic function if we don't acknowledge that the purpose of the knowledge, skills, and dispositions we communicate to our students is ultimately action. So to implement a curriculum fostering development of global identities, an educator shall transform and transcend personal, ingrained beliefs and fears. He or she should denounce sterilized and polarized themes. He should or she make the syllabus relevant to learners, because the themes do not have to be relevant only for the teacher. They have to be relevant to the student. The student must be able to understand them and relate. The educator needs to teach about inspiring figures, cultural events, and difficult histories, which is something that has been a theme that has been raised in these days, difficult histories, like the Holocaust, for instance. Learners should be involved in questioning and moral reasoning. The cognitive limitations should be challenged, and divergent thinking must be activated. Educators need to encourage learners' self-identification and encourage them to give ethical responses. It is our responsibility to conceptualize learning through meaningful experiences and paradigms. There's a threefold purpose to delivering and embracing, to delivering global citizenship lessons and actually embracing global identities. That is to promote taking a protective stance towards human rights, ensuring remembrance and commemoration of events so that mistakes won't happen again, and expand empathetic capacities to create a more inclusive and peaceful world. Thank you. I think I was short enough. We cannot hear you probably. Yeah, we're not able to hear you, sorry. Or is it just me?
Thank you, Ms. Diana.
Thank you.
Next, I would like to invite Luliana Krăska, educator from Romania, to share his views on peace. May I invite Luliana Krăska? Okay. Next, I would like to invite Rose Keith Swan, Soul Inspired Leadership from Singapore.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And I thank Dr. Pandey for inviting me to this, to me, a great discussion on peace and various aspects of peace. Now, I'll be brief, but I just wanted to make one point when it comes to peace. To me, world peace starts with you, the individual. It relies on you. And what I mean by that, when you're at peace with yourself, when you feel calm and contented and you have no emotional conflicts within yourself or with other people, then you're at peace with yourself. And once you achieve that, then you can start influencing other people to be at peace. But if you have internal conflicts, it's very hard to demand world peace when you're conflicting internally yourself. The key is to be at peace with yourself. That's my clear message there, what the point I want to make. If you're not at peace with yourself, you're very hard to influence other people to be at peace. That's the point. So when things change inside you, then things can change around you. It doesn't work the other way. If it does, where you're bending and weaving to watch the environment around you, that doesn't allow you to affect peace and create peace globally. It's probably the opposite. And things that like being in the present, not living in the past or wanting the future to come on quickly. It's being in the present with yourself to be at peace. It's being in the present to influence others to be at peace. If everyone was at peace in the world with themselves, we would have no wars. We'd have no wars. So you need to take control of your thoughts to be at peace, because what you're trying to do is connect with your inner self, not your outer self, your brain. Because your brain starts telling you, starts comparing with what you do with other people, what you should be doing, what others should be doing. The key is when you go within, inside you, deep inside you, that's what influences you to be at peace. So then you can become a giver of positive energy, not a taker of positive energy, or more or worse, negative energy. So the key is don't let like Steve Jobs once said, don't let the noise of other people's opinions drown out your own inner voice. The more you can control yourself and listen to within yourself, the more you'll be at peace and the happier life you had. And Wayne Dyer once said, peace can become a lens through which you see the world. Be it, live it, radiate it out, because peace is an inside job. Thank you. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
I think Ms. Krăska is already there. Ms. Krăska is entered in the room. So she must be called if she has not been called there.
Pardon, sir?
Ms. Krăska.
I'm on. Yeah. Luliana Krăska. Now I invite Luliana Krăska, educator from Romania. Is there in the panel?
Unable to mute herself.
Yes.
Unmute, madam.
Ma'am, you can switch on your video now.
Ms. Traska, just unmute yourself. We are not able to hear you. I think she has some audio problem.
He has to unmute, sir.
Unmute yourself. Ms. Traska, just unmute yourself. Can you please? She's explaining and not going to unmute herself. Okay, let's move ahead.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ma'am, you can stop sharing your screen because you are not audible. You are not audible. You are not visible to all the audience participants. So next, I would like to invite Dr. Ulvia Sanili Aydin, Professor Manisha Silal Bazar, University, Turkey. Dr. Ulvia Sanili. Dr. Prasad. Okay, next we'll move on to the next speaker, Professor Ijaz A. Huresi, President, Rector, Talon Institute of Higher Studies, Pakistan. Professor Dr. Ijaz, over to you.
Sir, thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to be part of this August gathering, intellectuals from all over the world. Wonderful effort by Charles Walters Society for Information, Innovation and Research to create a platform to talk on global peace in the most difficult times on planet. So, President Pandey, thank you very much. You created this platform and then brought all the global intellectuals at this forum to put their efforts to make things better for everybody. I think my perspective of talk would be from subcontinent's point of view. I think what's needed most in our region is to have a community like European community, European Union, a small bloc like we have SAARC already, but it has not created an environment of peace and prosperity as it should have been. So I think the more what's needed at this stage is intellectuals from big 2 countries in the subcontinent, in fact, big 3 countries, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh. Intellectuals need to move forward and set a space so that things can move into the direction. We had enough, whatever has happened. Now is the time to create an environment of love, respect, care for all of us in the region. President Dr. Gandhi very nicely said that an environment of nuclear holocaust. I think he has said it very precisely, and we really need to look into it, that what we are getting out of this investment or the expense that we have, can we force our governments, can we convince our policymakers, now it is the time to switch to something else. If the taxpayers' money can go into other directions where we can all be better off, and as well as global community will benefit from our efforts in the region. We all need to work on it. We all need to play our role within our own institutions, within our cities, within our local communities. And I think Charles Walters need to really now work on it to have more interaction with civil society. The way it has come up in a very short time, taken a space in big countries, small countries, and has a big following. And I think it is the time now to really work on making it more sustainable for all of us. I mean, when we talk about peace and education, I mean, it is creating an environment for all of us, for others, as well as creating an environment where we protect the climate. And at this point, when talking about climate, I must appreciate the presidency, president, and the team of President Joe Biden joining the Paris Treaty back. It's a wonderful news for all of us, and I'm sure lots of good news are going to come from their leadership, global leadership at this stage. So from my side, from all of us in Pakistan, we are looking forward to host the next Peace Summit when things get better in the very near future, and appreciate the efforts and sincere approach of President Pandey, the CWSIR chairman, Dr. Gandhi, and all the intellectuals who have decorated this environment of peace for all of us. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Dr. Ijaz Qureshi. And next, I would like to invite Professor Dr. Thona Safer, Professor of Information System, University of Maria Mount, Virginia, USA. Ma'am, over to you.
Good day, everyone. May I share my screen? I would just like to thank everyone for the insights this morning. It's been very invigorating. And I'm going to speak from my discipline, which is cybersecurity. And this past summer, I and my co-author prepared a piece on teaching cyber warfare. And so I thought it's interesting to start with a definition. Actions by a nation state or international organization to attack and attempt to damage another nation's computers or information networks through activities such as computer viruses or denial of service attacks. Now, we did a Google News search to see the popularity of the term cyber warfare. And in July 2020, that search yielded us over 250,000 hits. Then we switched the platform to scholar.google.com and searched for cyber warfare. And again, in July of 2020, got over 100,000 hits on the term cyber warfare. These were from all kinds of journals and books and reputable publications, very interdisciplinary. Journals from technology and computing to foreign relations to legal, a wide variety of scholars publishing on cyber warfare. Let us contrast that now to the concept of cyber peace. There is a definition from the International Telecommunications Union, which is an offshoot of the United Nations. That's a universal order of cyberspace built on a wholesome state of tranquility, the absence of disorder or disturbance and violence. So just a few weeks ago, in preparation for this meeting today, this summit, I did a news search on the term cyber peace on Google, and I got 4,770 hits. keep in mind the prior slide indicated over 250,000 hits on the term cyber warfare. We switched over to scholar.google and got 873 academic articles on cyber peace, the cyber warfare, which was over 100,000 hits. So how do we get over this imbalance? I would like to have seen more works being published on cyber peace than on cyber warfare. I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm willing to collaborate with anyone on the call who wants to add to that 4,770 deficit to get us up to that same 100,000 hits on cyber peace. So one way to get there, though, important to this group, is diplomacy. We need some global acceptance of terminologies in the cyberspace. We need international cooperation more than anything, since technology impacts every aspect of our life, from the educational opportunities some of you have mentioned, to the global business, to scientific advances. It's not happening without it happening in a global context, and everything is so interrelated these days. So we need some kind of international conceptual framework about cybersecurity. We need cybersecurity components in curricula of every college degree, but particularly in foreign relations and global business kinds of degrees. And I believe all embassies need training on security awareness and how to handle these sensitive issues and threats. So diplomatic staff needs to include cybersecurity specialists. Those are my thoughts from the discipline of cybersecurity. I thank everybody for your time, and I'm happy to continue the conversation with anyone who would like to.
Thank you, Professor Dr. Dona Sefer, for your wonderful presentation on peace. Next, I would like to welcome Loti Gelsen, educationist from Bhutan. Loti Gelsen. Mr. Loti?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Hello, everyone. First of all, I would like to convey my thanks to CWS IR family for giving me this platform to share my views and perspectives on world peace. Before I share my views on the world peace, I also would like to thank all the intellectuals in different fields for sharing your experiences and how you as expertise in your field could contribute to building peace in the world. I work as a teacher educator, and I would like to share my views on how I as a teacher educator could contribute to the world peace. Before that, I would like to quote the golden words of Mahatma Gandhi. He said, if we want to reach real peace in the world, we should start educating the children. I unquote. Well, it's very clear that we cannot have a peace, we cannot build peace in the world unless we educate the young kindling minds in the four walls of classroom with proper right and positive human values. So this is where now we all must, as the educator, I personally feel that we must now rethink on educating our young minds in 21st centuries through right human values. Now what should be the role then? What should be the role of the schools, the teachers, and the curriculum? We cannot have the right astronauts, scientists, politicians, business people without right human values. We talk of having good governance, we talk about having a good relationship in every activities or in any daily basis. This can only happen if we give right values to our children in the classroom. So in my perspective, I feel that it's now that we must switch ourselves from focusing on the content teaching, then we also must have to infuse some of the values, the right human values, and we must embrace those values in our curriculum. For instance, I work as a teacher in the high school, and when I teach, this is my personal experience, when I teach a topic, I not only assume of teaching the content only, but with the content, I try to infuse some of the values, some of the right human values, so that the child can learn the content, also embrace the values. For example, I teach social studies, I teach about the forest, I teach about the water, but what values can I teach when I teach those topics? So peace education, we talk about peace education. It can happen only if we give the right human values infused in curriculum. And without that, we cannot have a peace in the world. And some of our colleagues have earlier said that peace within self is very important. I think I heard one of our colleagues earlier said that the peace within is very important. I think he was right. And then that's because a young mind needs to know, respect, embrace, and welcome the diversities. And we can have diversities built only in the classroom. So as a teacher, educator, we all must rethink towards teaching the young children in the classroom with positive human values. So with this, I would like to hand over the floor back to the moderator, and thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Loti. Next, I would like to invite Ms. Rania Lambo, Ministry of Education, Greece. Ma'am, over to you.
Greetings from Greece, from Athens. Thank you very much for your kind invitation to be a part today of this so meaningful and resourceful event. My name is Rania Lambo. I'm STEM instructor, a global educator, and currently I'm working at the Greek Ministry of Education. May I share, today we will explore the crucial role of peace education in the post-COVID era. May I share my presentation?
Yes, yes.
So the COVID pandemic has highlighted actually how interconnected, fragile, and complex the global socioeconomic system is, because in a matter of weeks, global travel and trade systems collapsed, social norms changed radically, rights and liberties which have been taken for granted, such as the freedom of movement and association, were revoked, and social values reoriented. It also became apparent that the world lacks an effective approach to deal with such crisis. So observing this crisis and its impact through a human rights lens put a focus on how it is affecting people on the ground, particularly the most vulnerable among us, and what can be done about it now and in the long term. So guaranteeing human rights for everyone poses a challenge for every country around the world to a different degree. Yet the impact of the crisis in this is real. Unemployment and food insecurity have risen to unprecedented levels in many countries. Widespread closure of schools, reduction of care and protection services for children. Strategies to contain the virus are difficult for those without good quality safe housing. We see that, therefore, the crisis raises particular concerns for the marginalized and most vulnerable in the society. Marginalization creates vulnerability, and this could raise tension and could provoke civil unrest. However, I strongly believe that COVID crisis could be also a great resetter of economy, societies, and education, an opportunity to bring forward long-awaited reforms for development. The pandemic has created actual opportunities for peace and can provide a pretext to adopt repressive measures for purposes unrelated to the pandemic. The instability and fear that the pandemic engenders is exacerbating existing human rights concerns, such as discrimination against certain groups, hate speech, xenophobia attacks, and forced retention of refugees and migrants, and sexual and gender-based violence, as well as limited access to sexual reproductive health and rights. So it is important here to refer to the distinction between positive and negative peace. Negative peace refers to the absence of violence. When, for example, a ceasefire is enacted, negative peace will ensue. It is negative, why? Because something undesirable stopped happening. For example, the violence stopped, the oppression ended. Positive peace is filled with positive content, such as restoration of relationships, the creation of social systems that serve the needs of the whole population, and the constructive resolution of conflict. Peace does not mean, of course, the total absence of any conflict. It means the absence of violence in all forms and the unfolding of conflict in a constructive way. Peace, therefore, exists where people are interacting non-violently and are managing the conflict positively with respectful attention to the legitimate needs and interests of all concerned. So the pandemic actually shifted patterns of violence throughout the globe. While there has been a decline in some types of crime, battle deaths and riots due to lockdown measures, other areas such as domestic violence, self-harm and suicide are likely to have increased. There have been reports of substantially higher use also of suicide and mental health helplines as a result of the pandemic and social isolation. Here we see that countries that have invested in protecting economic and social rights are likely to be more resilient. Furthermore, countries that are most likely to recover quickly from the pandemic are those with strong performances and good relations with neighbors and sound business environment before the crisis. Therefore, the two factors that will assist countries in the post-COVID recovery are high levels of positive peace, guaranteeing effective institutions, social cohesion and transparent representative governments, and favorable economic conditions before the pandemic. These were the pillars most heavily affected by COVID. Here we can see, it's very important here, the two index, the Global Peace Index, the world's leading measure of global peacefulness, and also the other peace index that measures the attitudes, institutions, and structures that create and sustain peaceful societies. And here we can see that this, of course, index, most of the indicators are likely to be negatively impacted by the COVID pandemic. There have been some efforts throughout the pandemic. We see here the effort of UNESCO, the campaign, My COVID Story campaign, which provides a space for young women and men around the world to share their views, experiences, and initiatives. COVID has given youth the opportunity to strengthen empathy, solidarity, and resilience skills to combat COVID. Here we can see some testimonies. For example, a high school student says that misleading, biased information, and conspiracy theories have resulted in hatred and racism in China. And what it's important to see that within this framework, peace education is of utmost importance. Education plays a crucial role in building defenses of peace in the minds of peoples. It aims at the total development of the child. It tries to inculcate higher human and social values in the mind of child. So peace education is holistic. Why? Because it embraces the physical, emotional, intellectual, social growth of children within a framework deeply rooted in traditional human values. It is based in a philosophy that teaches love, compassion, trust, and reverence for the human family on our planet. And of course, it's also skill building. So the relationship between peace and sustainable development is important to achieve the objectives of social cohesion and living together, and to move away from a culture of war and peace. I am, as Temi Stragos said before, I'm the founder of 5 international humanitarian projects that are implemented mostly in Africa and India. And this project, through this project, I'm trying to alleviate, I'm trying to make negative peace look like more positive peace. Why? Because these projects are STEM projects. So as our world become more connected, countries prioritizing STEM education and research will make significant advances in alleviating poverty and sustaining economic, cultural, and societal growth. It is vital also for developing, especially countries seeking to reduce their poverty levels, to adopt new scientific research and technology. In doing so, these countries can improve their economy, healthcare system, and infrastructure. Undoubtedly, the role of STEM education here is of significant importance, just as it is in our modern world. Thank you thank you very much for your attention. If you have any questions?
Thank you, Ms. Rania Lambo. Next, I would like to welcome Dr. Warakamal, professor from Thailand, to share his views on peace.
Yes,
Dr.
thank
Warakamal?
you. Yes, hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, okay. Firstly, I would like to thank you to invite me for today. Actually, first as all, as you know, in Thailand, we have a lot of problem in politics about our prime minister, like not this year, but 10 years ago nowadays. That's why my country is still in developing country, you know. And what should I do for the peace and politics come belong together? So we need to build my Thai student, to be sharing and ignoring to bullying, because you know Thai people going with the bullying. Sometimes, like, if you can speak English but your accent is very Thai, so you're gonna be like, oh, bullying each other, Thai by Thai, not the other. So that's why the peace in Thailand is very necessary. And you know, we have a lot of problem with in the south of Thailand, next to Malaysia, right? For the Muslim and Thai. Actually, I was live in when I was young, I lived in south of Thailand. So when I was young, I have a lot of Malaysian friends, Muslim friends. But nowadays, Buddhists cannot live. It's about 5 or 10%. That's all. This one is a conflict about the peace also. So nowadays, as I'm a teacher, as I'm a lecturer, I always build my students to be like the peaceful mind, like forgiveness, like touch each other, like share a love. Because you know, about social, about our country, about my country, have properly we cannot develop because a lot of conflict about the politics, about the too many issues, and the big problem is corruption. Yeah. So I'm gonna show you about this one. I would like to share some slide that this one at the in the first class, I always tell my student what the 10 things that you work good for for the other people or for your family, something like that. So they don't have any idea, but they always ask like for the we have a lot of conflict. I don't know how to say, but we have a lot of conflict about our new generations and my generation is mean generation X and baby boom. We have conflict a lot between of this group. But the peace in Thailand, what I would like to say for the shortest, because we have only 5 minutes. Okay, actually, this one roadmap for Thailand, I just show you about the creativity, innovation, and smart Thailand for Thailand 4.0. This one is is Thailand nation in next 20 years. And for the peace, I always teach my students for about to empathy and sympathy to other, share your material and group study together. You cannot learn by yourself, but you need to work as a team. Properly, when I was young, I always like the study alone study, but now all assignment, all the material thing, I always give my student to work as a team and rotate the team member every week, not the same team, something like that. And this one for motivate about the peace in Thailand is about people, communication, and working environments and management and the feedback. These are kind of category I always share to students to do every week, and how to empathize and sympathize with the other and communication together, something like that. And actually the positivity and happiness and will to work hard, good health and relationship work-life balance. That's all the happy life. And if you, I always told my student about like, if you have a positive attitude, so if you have fulfill your heart already 100% in your heart, and you can share with the other, and this one will be the peace. And for about my politics and about new generation, I think I don't want to touch it because it's very sensitive issue in Thailand. Seriously, it's very sensitive. So, but we can fix day by day for this issue. You know, it's about the society also, and it is about the living cost or something like that. It's a very sensitive issue. So that's all I would like to share for you. Thank you so much for inviting me today. Thank you. สวัสดีค่ะ Namaste.
Thank you, Dr. Orakamal, for your quick and crisp presentation on peace. Next, I would like
thank you.
Next, I would like to welcome Mr. Anshu Anand, entrepreneur, India. Ma'am, over to you.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Thank you for inviting me for this session on peace, on world peace. And I'm running a business advisory firm based in New Delhi. And we are increasing our focus towards sustainable business development solutions. Since climate change mitigation and adaptation, I think, is one of the most crucial topics that we should be discussing. In fact, I think climate change is the new pandemic that we should be talking about. It's 2021. We are still concerned and in many parts of the world dealing with the impact of COVID-19. But it is high time that we actually start putting the same seriousness and focus towards climate change related topics. And in terms of world peace and security point of view, I think, the major effect is going to be towards the availability of resources, which has been quite evident recently with the news of lack of clean air in most of the cities around the world. There is a very fast depletion of clean water, clean groundwater in most of the cities around the world. And these issues will increase exponentially. There is actually no way going back with the global warming that's happening. So I think now the focus has to be how do we mitigate and how do we adapt to the changes that is already happening. And this affects the population dynamics around the world. Our generation has been mostly centered around the structure of how industrial revolution shaped up the world, where the concentration was towards the cities, for the population to migrate and find, better job opportunities. But now, since climate change has become such a big threat, I think that's going to create a lot of, in a way, chaos and havoc in terms of, finding the basic necessities to be fulfilled and to be easily available by people at large. And this is going to put a strain on the societal institutions, who are working towards, building a better world and, working towards social impact related issues. And so overall, I can see, there's going to be a big impact on the socio-economic and political stability as well. All just because of the climate change that is already happening. So in terms of numbers, there are 971 million people that are living in the areas which have high or very high exposure to climate change hazards globally. And out of which 41%, which is more than 400 million people, are in countries which have very low levels of peacefulness. And out of this, Asia Pacific region houses twice the number of people as many people in rest of the regions. As South Asia in particular has the highest risk to natural hazards, and it has the second lowest coping capacity of all the regions, because we are still in the process of developing the economy and putting a robust financial structure in most of the countries in this region. So I think the climate, as and when the climate hazards keep increasing, and most of them are the ones which come unannounced and is beyond human control. So this is going to put a lot of pressure in the governance and in the financial system. And apart from that, sub-Saharan African region has a risk of, has a climate-related risk as well, which may even result in a violent outbreak, and which could put about more than 122 million people at risk. So in 2017, there has been about 18.8 million people who were estimated to be displaced due to natural disasters globally. And this has brought in a new wave of displaced people who are called climate refugees. And apart from them, it just puts a very big strain on the fragile communities around the world. So I would like to just highlight that I think besides taking initiatives in the political stability and the overall defense of countries, peace has to be achieved by understanding the importance of climate change, adaptation and mitigation at every level. I think there needs to be a lot of data that needs to be generated by the researchers like we have over here from all around the world. And, the right research numbers are that can be published in a more, I think, updated way and in a more precise form is going to empower rest of the sectors like the business communities or the politicians to bring about change based on that data. So I think I'd like to use this platform to highlight all the researchers on this platform from all over the world to please put focus towards bringing out substantial data around climate change so that this can be published and studied by rest of the stakeholders in the system. I think from the business point of view, I see a lot of requirement and inclination towards ESG, what we call, which is environment and sustainability related groups are getting a lot of attention from the investors, from politicians. There are, future city models that, the countries are working on. But unless we have the right data to start the work, it's very difficult to actually bring about the right action. And climate change is going to be so crucial that it may be, actually the impact, if it is properly studied, is probably worse than any other pandemic that, our civilization has faced. But unfortunately, it is not very well talked, studied, or assessed on a day-to-day basis. So yes, I would just like to urge everyone here to help us, highlight climate change to maintain peace in the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Anshu, Anand, for your speech on climate change and a lot of data as you have mentioned. So thank you so much for your presentation. Next, I would like to welcome Dr. Clarence Peter, Board of Directors, Charles Walter Society for Innovation and Research. Sir, I request you to share your views on World Peace Summit. Over to Dr. Clarence Peter. Dr. Clarence? I think Sir is not there in the panel.
Yeah, I think it's exited.
Yes. I have called all the resource person as per the schedule we have planned. Anybody is still waiting? Join later. I think I have seen Luliana Tresca in the panel. Ma'am, can you able to unmute yourself?
She has some technical glitch. She won't be able to. One Fatimat is there. She wanted to explain something on the piece. Actually, she was unable to explain that time because of her network glitch. Now she's available.
Dr. Ulvia Sanilia Aiden.
Yes.
Doctor, yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah, fine.
Hello.
Hello from Turkey. First of all, I want to thank to all participants for this special session and for invitation me also. Today we will, or we are talking about peace. It's one of the vulnerable and more desirable issues in the world. And I think all of us every time talk about the peace more than other issues. So we must say that we usually talk too much about that subjects, what we miss more. So in these terms, peace, democracy, human rights, a clean environment, fair distribution of income, justice, these are the subjects that we miss more than other daily issues. So today, our planet where we live is going through one of the most difficult and challenged transformations. And there are too many threats around us, around humanity. Maybe years before, we told about wars, we told about the interest stakes of nation states. However, today, a situation a little bit changed and more complicated because the threats are not only from other countries or other societies, other nation states, but the nature itself, our world itself, also threaten us in terms of climate change, in terms of environment issues, and in terms of pandemic. So I think in these during these different times, we need peace more than before, because pandemic showed us that there is no any discrimination when such a big threat is posing for humanity. So I think all of us, each individual or each society, each nation state is not able to fight against the effects, against the influences of pandemic. So the second option is here to evaluate, to accept the pandemic in positive way. Maybe you are surprising how can be pandemic evaluated in positive way, but I think yes, I agree. The pandemic is seen as a global crisis. It's really a global crisis. There is no any discrimination, as I said, between welfare people, poor people, between geographies, countries. But pandemic can also be transformed into a global opportunity for each of us, because the fight against the pandemic cannot be solved, cannot be done by putting the interest only one state or only with the attempts of any society. So maybe this pandemic can be helpful to create a culture, a common culture in terms of sustainable peace. Because as I said, as my colleague pointed before me, sustainable development, also climate change, climate mitigation, all these migration, also refugee crisis. All these issues are the great threats for us, for the human security, for the peace and welfare. In these terms, we must reach a solution by addressing everything which results in migration, environmental pollution, racism, human rights problems, the gap in income distribution, and of course, peace and injustice. I wish success for all of you in these works. Thank you once more for this special invitation.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I would like to invite Dr. Clarence Peter, Board of Director, Charles Walter Society for Innovation and Research. Sir, I request you to share your views on World Peace Summit.
Thank you, Nagarajan, for this beautiful invitation. Before I start, I give my regards to Dr. Abhishek Pandey, who has taken this initiative in this time of violence throughout the globe. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, perfectly.
Yeah. So thanking Dr. Abhishek Pandey at this young age of 28, who realized the importance of this topic of peace when the whole world is in turmoil. You talk about terrorism and you talk about whatnot. When we talk about peace, being from the English department, I know well the spelling of peace. P-E-A-C-E. But where are we leading to? Where are we heading to? We are heading to another peace. P-I-E-C-E. Anyone in between, Nagarajan? Anyone wants to speak in between?
No, you can continue, sir. You can continue.
Okay. So what I meant was the difference in spelling of peace, and we are running into pieces. Praise the Lord. Thank God. Thank Brahma, whatever name we call, that our country, India, is still better as far as peace is concerned. Today, we don't need political leaders. We need peace leaders. And when we say peace leaders, the first people on priority basis, it could be the educators, the teachers. Peace directly, when we talk about peace, we mean directly the mindset. Now, when we talk about definition of light, I don't know if someone can help me to define light. We usually define light by saying where there is no darkness. Similarly, peace could be defined where there is no violence. And it is our educational institutions, we as educators, we as agents for social change, we should inject social, emotional, and ethical values in our thoughts, in our students. Whatever has happened in the past. The future generation, the X generation is our students. They are those soft clays. We can mold them. Teachers, educators can build peace by calling for one important thing, or being one gender, one region, one linguistic, one religion. All religion, in all religion we say there is one God, but our paths are different. And when we talk about peace, even in our families, we should have peace. Then our neighborhood will have, then our state, our city will have, our country will have, and that is how it multiplies. The induction effect. When we talk about peace, when I said about family, communication is directly related to peace. Directly. How do we communicate things to our elders and to our youngsters? What is the way we interact with our parents, to our neighborhood, parents to their children, and vice versa. Above all, I would like to end with these few words. After having listened to all I would like to end by saying, with folded hands, a request to our media, which is another teacher, a very, very, very active teacher, peace teacher, a peace leader, to stop all that. Stop it today. These discussions going on the screen. The next generation is getting a very, 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 I wouldn't say bad, but awkward impression about the coming days, about peace. We talk about peace on table, and everything, excuse me, everything is nullified by the media. We are talking about Hindu, we are talking about Hindu vis-a-vis Muslims, we are talking about the Ireland Christians versus this Christian, we are talking about Shias versus Sunnis. What rubbish! Muslims are Muslims, Christians are Christians, Hindus are Hindus. We are all humanity. Let us stop all that. If we, through this peace summit, at the closing ceremony, with a folded hand request, if I can make, is please convey to the media people to stop all this, excuse me for using the word bullshit, this discussion going on the screen. You call it for TRP or you call it for anything, but please, please and please. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I request all the participants to switch on your video so that I can capture the virtual group photo. I request all the participants to switch on your video for a moment before officially closing the first session of World Peace Summit. I request all the participants to switch on your video.
Open camera.
Yeah, please.
Open camera and smile.
Yeah, quickly. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nagarajan.
Yes, sir. It is my responsibility to give concluding remark on first session of World Peace Summit. I would start my concluding remarks with a simple message. Thank you so much for all of you for joining today. Whether you are from abroad or you are already here in India, whether you are participated directly or you worked behind the scenes, you have all shown your commitment to sustaining peace. And because of you, this is the first session of Virtual Grand Summit was a success. I hope you all have enjoyed yourself today and learned something. What an exciting day this has been. I think we have over 33 talented speakers from different countries. That is remarkable. After listening to so many of your views and seeing examples of your work, you have reminded me that talented people simply are not as tied down by conventional thinking as the rest of us, because you see problems differently. You tend to arrive at different solution. That is such an incredible and undervalued resource. Let's make no mistake, it will be a long road ahead. This is a struggle across continents, cultures, and generations. A struggle for the future you will not only inherit but help build. Let's work toward a future of peace, tolerance, and opportunity that is worthy of the hard work, creativity, and leadership we have seen here today. Thank you all again for being here And I encourage you all to stay connected with each other on the road ahead. We'll meet again tomorrow at 6 p.m. for the second day session of World Peace Summit 2021 with the different panelists. Until then, take care. Good night. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye. Good night from
Good night.
Indonesia.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Good night. See you everyone tomorrow.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Abhishek.
Thank you.
Thank you
Good
very much.
night.
Thank you, Dr. Abhishek.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Dr. Pandey.
I'd like to pay my gratitude to founder of this research organization, Dr. Smita Tiwari. Really feeling very blessed to have, and I'm very thankful to all of you today connected to talk on peace, which is the ultimate goal for human life, as it is written in our Veda that we advocate the like telling, Om Rau Santi, Zung Santi, Antariksha Brahm Santi, Rapah Hiru Sadhayah Santi, Navagraha Santi, Vrihaspatayah Santi. We pray peacefulness of the entire world. Thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you, President Pandey. Have a good one.
So let me close the meeting. Thank you.